Here's something that I didn't get to before my summer vacation, and that is Jimmy Neutron's Win, Lose, and Kabam. This is, in my opinion, better than the 2001 feature film. I know it's very hard to believe, but looking at everything what they did in this movie is just brilliant. And I really love it so much. Anyway, let's get into the beginning of this movie. We get shipping moments of Sheen and Libby and Jimmy with Cindy. And then out of nowhere, Jimmy sees a shooting thing that is coming from the sky, and apparently it was from a different planet. Jimmy tries to explain that it needs to be returned, but Cindy has the idea to put it in the museum, which is really not a good idea because something disastrous might happen. So Jimmy decides to get all the info from the rock thing, but it gets taken away by the government. So the main characters, Jimmy, Carla, Sheen, Cindy, Libby, and Goddard, went past security, and Bobby was by the boulder this whole time. I'm not kidding. He just got captured because story, I guess. So anyway, Jimmy completely decodes the message, and then they completely get captured from outer space. And it's actually a galactic showdown. And it's hosted by Meldorf, voiced by Tim Allen. Yes, Tim Allen is part of this movie. And I really found it kind of ironic that he's voicing a space guy, kind of like he's voiced Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story movies. So I found that kind of unique and very cool. And throughout this entire movie, Team Earth needs to battle against 3 teams from different planets. And if they lose or deny anything of what Merida demands them to, the planets will get destroyed. Yeah, it's that cruel. Merida is a complete control freak. And that's why I'm going to stop about the story, because the rest of the story is just basically Jimmy trying to get along in order to have his friends help him. And then when later on, they work together, and at the end, they won. Like I said, it's a contest where the teams need to compete and win. Otherwise, if they don't, the planets will get destroyed. So it's up to the main characters to win all the rounds, even though that they didn't get along at the first 2 rounds. Completely got along at the end. And they managed to win everything and have the Earth saved. Now, the teamwork development in this movie, I really found it interesting because aside from the 2001 movie, where they have to work together in order to get their parents back from the aliens, this one is very different because they're in the game show, and if they don't work together, the planets will get destroyed. Now, they did lose one guy, but in my opinion, Bobby, I don't understand why he's in this movie to begin with, so I don't think that's really a major loss. I really think that this movie really does everything better in the 2001 movie because Jimmy Neutron always works alone between the 2 movies. I mean, Sheen and Carl was part of his missions, but they were used for comedy, and that's it. Sure, they will help up some points, but they're mostly for comedy. There's also a romance triangle in this movie, kind of, because here's my opinion on April. Now, her development in this movie is good, but the problem with that is, like I stated in my Tag versus Jimmy Neutron video, this show had to discontinue because of the financial problems that the company had while making this. Yeah. This is the only time we ever get to see her, and after that, pretty much never. Which is really sad. The romance in this movie isn't a problem with me. In fact, I can understand Cindy's jealousy, but the sad thing is that we don't get to see more of this after that. So, April's romance with Jimmy just really feels forced and really not fleshed out since we never get to see her after this. I found that disappointing. I don't have a problem with the romance in this. It's just that the discontinued in 2006 is actually kind of sad. I'm really sad that it didn't get rebooted or continued to this day. And if you think that this is the only plot that they focus in this entire movie, well, think again, because they actually gave the parents some development, that they wanted to help the kids in order to get out of the game show and save them. Now, they completely fail because Hugh Neutron, the father of Jimmy, completely does the cliched idiot father tropes. Which means that all the plan and hard work that the parents did in this movie went to waste, even though that they got their kids back at the end. But that's not really a bad thing, because I really like the scenes that they're just actually giving more development to the other characters, even if they have minor roles. I really like how they try to have so much development and heart into this. In my opinion, before 2005, Nickelodeon was at its best for the most part. I mean, before the new SpongeBob episodes, before the new Fairly Odd Parents episodes, and before the terrible cartoons, Fanboy and Chop Chop, and the DreamWorks cartoons. I'm not a fan of the DreamWorks cartoons. Their shows were really entertaining and pretty much the best thing to watch on the network. Yes, Cartoon Network was at number one in the cartoon thing, but Nickelodeon was at second place, in my opinion. I did like some of the events in this intergalactic showdown, and it's very entertaining. Even if the animation isn't as good as it was in the theatrical movie, I still really enjoy the pacing. This is why you always should take your time on animating a CGI show. And I really like the CGI in this movie. It really shows that they can do it way better, even though they're not having the same budget they have in the 2001 movie. My favorite part throughout this entire movie is the Oxbitter course. For 7 minutes, it's very genius. I mean, they show a shortcut where Team Morph decides to go to because they think that they're gonna win, but in reality, they got hypnotized by Team Brains, which means that they're about to use because they completely got hypnotized for a while. And actually surprising that the Brains almost got to the finish line faster than the other characters. It just actually surprises me. But at the end, Team Arthur wins. And I really love the music in this. I know it's really not better than the theatrical film. I know I keep saying that a lot, but people pretty much have opinions about this. About the music and how it can be a bit annoying. But you wouldn't expect that this is a TV show, not a theatrical movie anymore. I really enjoy the music from beginning to end of this Oxbitter course, of how serious and more tense that the characters had to go through in order to beat the Brains at their own game. I only wish that people will actually have the score of this movie and have it online so I can listen to this over and over again. And as for Meldar, is very menacing and very aggressive when it comes to his game show. I mean, really, he wants the teams to compete for their lives, and that's it. I mean, I know it was Jimmy's fault that they got into this mess, but man, Meldar is completely aggressive in this movie. I mean, that's something I really like about him. And the fact that he's voiced by Tim Allen, the same voice actor who voiced Buzz Lightyear, is a very great choice. I really like his character to the point where, even though this is the only time we get to see him, it's a very great performance. Now, the moral of this movie is about teamwork. Now, I know that they were in a serious situation and there was kind of romance in this, but I think this movie is all about teamwork. And it's a very good moral because it really shows kids that sometimes you can't be the leader in order to win for your team. You have to have someone else to help you in order to make your team work, in order to have your team win. I'm not saying that this is a very thrown in moral, but the fact that Jimmy Neutron takes itself seriously most of the time really makes this movie very worth the watch. I really enjoy this more than the 2001 movie because of how serious it is. In the 2001 movie, Jimmy made a very big mistake. And here, he did a mistake, but it's not very big. And in my opinion, the teamwork thing that they completely did in this movie is just brilliant that I just can't get over how great they did it in this movie. They will miss opportunities like the romance triangle thing, but other than that, I really enjoy this movie. I recommend for any Jimmy Neutron fan to watch this, especially Nickelodeon fans. This movie gets an 8 out of 10. I'm Lonely Fanboy 4 here. I'm signing out.